20th January, Donald Trump will be back in the White House. From the time that's become clear, countries have returned to the drawing board, making calculations and reassessing plans. All are preparing for what Trump 2.0 could bring in for them. Among the countries topping that list is China. Hello and welcome to Connecting the Dots. I'm Unman Bhattacharya. Let's connect the dots of what Trump 2.0 could mean for China. $992 billion US. That was China's trade surplus in 2024. It's the difference between the value of its exports and imports for the year. That's an unprecedented figure, a record high, and of course, very close to the $1 trillion mark. Adjusted for inflation, this number exceeds any global surplus seen in the past century. It overshadows even the historical export houses like Germany, Japan, or the United States post-World War II. So how did China achieve that? Chinese exports swamped the globe, but its own businesses and households spent cautiously on imports. Exports have historically been a crucial growth engine for China's $18 trillion economy, which is also the world's second largest. So what were the triggers of China's exports surge this time? A strong US economy has meant that investors want to jump to the dollar. So China's currency, renminbi, also known as the Chinese yuan, is sliding against the US dollar. A weaker domestic currency gives a boost to exports and disincentivizes imports. But that's not the only trigger. The data was released just a week before Donald Trump takes office as the President of the United States. Numbers would have been impacted by Trump's forthcoming inauguration. Fearing the looming threat of higher tariffs, exporters rushed shipments and inventories out of China before the incoming US administration could take charge and spark off a fresh trade war between the world's two biggest economies. On the campaign trail, Trump had threatened to slap even heftier tariffs on Chinese goods than those implemented in his first term.
We're going to tariff the hell out of them.
This is what Trump posted on his Truth Social handle. China is not the only country on Trump's tariff radar. He has pledged tariffs of as much as 10% on global imports and 60% on Chinese goods, plus a 25% import surcharge on Canadian and Mexican products. Trade experts say these duties would upend trade flows, raise costs, and draw retaliation. If we look at only China, then the threatened tariff rates are much higher than the 7.5% to 25% levied on it during Trump's first term. So what could be Trump's course of action? Reports suggest Trump is considering a national economic emergency declaration to legally justify his new tariff program. So he could use the International Economic Emergency Powers Act that authorizes a president to manage imports during a national emergency.
So what Trump is trying to do is make sure that he can impose tariffs on China and other US trading partners without going through the process of getting congressional approval, and also trying to set things up so that the tariffs, when they are imposed, if they are imposed, do not run afoul of World Trade Organization regulations. So a declaration of this sort would essentially suggest that the tariffs are being imposed for national security reasons, which would exempt them from World Trade Organization regulations prohibiting the use of tariffs for purely economic purposes.
For China, it will be a double whammy because it already has a problem on its hands. Its disputes with the European Union over tariffs of more than 45% on Chinese electric vehicles remain unresolved. United States and European countries see the generous subsidies that China gives to its manufacturers as a source of unfair competition, and hence they levy the tariffs. As per a Goldman Sachs report, a potential 20% increase in US levies on Chinese goods would result in a 0.7 percentage point hit to China's real GDP this year. So you can imagine what pressure 60% American tariffs would put on the Chinese economy which is already bogged down domestically by an extended property crisis, industrial overcapacity concerns, rising government debt, and weak consumer demand. This means after Trump's return to the White House, Beijing may not be able to rely so much on trade to drive its economic activity. So Beijing is looking at boosting its domestic demand through a combination of fiscal and monetary policy easing. Here is what else Beijing could do in the face of heftier American tariffs. Beijing could allow the yuan to weaken further and pre-position exports in third countries so that they can then be sent to the United States or simply find new markets. Some shifts are already palpable. China's exports to Vietnam increased by nearly 18% last year. China overtook Japan to become Vietnam's third largest export destination. That's not all. There is another major pain point for China, the fate of TikTok, social media platform owned by Beijing-based ByteDance. While the Biden administration favored a ban on TikTok in the US, Trump has a different view. As president, Trump signed an executive order to ban TikTok unless it was acquired by an American company. He alleged the Chinese government was using the app to surveil millions of Americans. The order never went into effect after it was challenged in federal court. But now Trump has done a flip-flop.
So I'm going to have to start thinking about TikTok. I think we're going to have to start thinking. Because, you know, we did go on TikTok and we had a great response with billions of views, billions and billions of views. They brought me a chart, and it was a record, and it was so beautiful to see. And as I looked at it, I said, maybe we got to keep this sucker around a little while, you know.
In April 2024, PAFACA, or Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act, was signed into law by President Biden. It mandates TikTok to divest from its Chinese parent company ByteDance and sell to a US-based entity by the 19th of January. So what are the concerns around TikTok in the US? Lawmakers and regulators in the West are concerned that TikTok and its parent company ByteDance may access sensitive user data and put it into the hands of the Chinese government. They point to laws that allow the Chinese government to secretly demand data from Chinese companies and citizens for intelligence gathering operations. They are also worried that China could use TikTok's content recommendations to fuel misinformation and threaten its national security.
Under Chinese law, Chinese companies are required to essentially, and I'm going to shorthand here, basically do whatever the Chinese government wants them to in terms of sharing information or serving as a tool of the Chinese government. And so that's plenty of reason by itself to be extremely concerned. I would say we do have national security concerns, at least from the FBI's end, about TikTok. They include the possibility that the Chinese government could use it to control data collection on millions of users or control the recommendation algorithm, which could be used for influence operations if they so chose, or to control software on millions of devices, which gives the opportunity to potentially technically compromise personal devices. So there's a number of concerns there.
So TikTok concerns me for a number of different reasons. One is the data that they have. Secondly is the algorithm and the control, who has the algorithm. Third is the broad platform. Influence operations, as we talked about previously, it's not only the fact that you can influence something, but you can also, turn off the message as well when you have such a large population of listeners.
TikTok, though, claims it is not controlled by the Chinese government. The push to force a TikTok sale has led to speculation about potential buyers, such as a group of investors brought together by former Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, large American corporations, or a coalition of private equity firms. Billionaire Frank McCourt has also shown interest in leading its purchase. There are also reports that China is considering selling TikTok's US operations to Elon Musk, though TikTok has denied this. For China, selling to Musk could mean placing TikTok in the hands of an ally, someone whose business empire is deeply dependent on the Chinese market and who has the ear of incoming President Trump at a time when China will be looking for leverage in tariff negotiations. Joe Biden has left the decision on TikTok's fate in the United States to Trump, and there are reports that Trump is considering options to preserve TikTok. Trump's incoming national security advisor, Mike Waltz, says Trump will find a way to save TikTok, used by 170 million people in the United States. So as Trump enters the Oval Office, China has the option of striking deals with his administration on tariffs and TikTok. The Trump challenge could also mean that Taiwan's defense, China's treatment of Tibetans and Uyghur Muslims, and competing claims of sovereignty on land and in contested waters, to name a few, could be a thorn in the side of Beijing. So the next 4 years won't be anything short of a roller coaster ride for China.
Amazing. India is a spiritual heart of the world. So I'm very happy. I feel amazing. The water is cold, but the heart is warm.
So the water is cold, but the heart is warm. This is the magic of Mahakumbh Mela, where devotion meets joy at the sacred confluence of Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati in the North Indian city of Prayagraj. Over 35 million people took a holy dip in the Triveni Sangam on the first Amrit Snan of Mahakumbh. The figure only proves Mahakumbh as the largest spiritual gathering in the world. Amrit Snan holds a religious significance. It is believed that taking a dip in the Triveni Sangam rids one of all their sins, releases them and their ancestors from the cycle of rebirth, and helps them attain moksha or salvation. One of the major attractions in the Mahakumbh remains Naga sadhus. Riding horses, carrying drums and trishuls or tridents, Naga sadhus arrived first at the Triveni Sangam and took the holy dip. But who are the Naga sadhus and what's their significance in Mahakumbh Mela? Naga sadhus are known for their unique appearances, often with ash-covered bodies and minimal or no clothing. The 8th century Hindu philosopher Adi Shankaracharya introduced the monastery system of warrior class monks and seers known as akhadas. Naga sadhus belong to these akhadas. Akhadas were established to protect and promote Sanatan Dharma or the Hindu religion, particularly during times of external threats. Historically, Naga sadhus lived in the Himalayas, far from human settlements. They worship Lord Shiva and embody his principles of asceticism and spiritual discipline. During the Mahakumbh Mela, Naga sadhus are the first to enter the holy waters of Ganga for the Amrit Snan. It is believed that by taking the dip first, they make the water sacred for everyone else.
बहुत आनंद आया, अमृत मिला हमको स्नान करके गुरु महाराजों की दया से उनकी आशीर्वाद से हमको बहुत आनंद आया।
हर हर महादेव। बहुत अति सुंदर आप लोगों को प्रयागराज और लोगों को प्यार मिल रहा है, ऐसे प्यार मिलता रहे और ऐसी हमें मौका मिलता रहे। हम भोले के बहुत बड़े भक्त अघोरी बाबा हर हर महादेव।
With drums beating, the Naga sadhus danced with excitement, filling the air with energy. Their passion was infectious and the devotees watched in amazement. Chants of Har Har Mahadev, Jai Shri Ram and Jai Ganga Maiya were reverberating as the devotees took a dip in the icy cold waters. Enthusiasm was on the top. Pilgrims from across the world participated in the Amrit Snan in Mahakumbh. Let's listen in to some of them.
It's been a life-changing experience and once-in-a-lifetime experience. I'll never forget this forever.
This was amazing experience. this can happen only in India, and this is a great victory of Sanatan Dharma, I can say. And this lifetime experience.
My biggest motivation to come to Kumbh was the fact that this is actually the biggest human gathering on earth, which is very interesting to me. I really enjoyed the parade of Agoris this morning. I really like the experience of the whole event, and I hope everybody is having fun here.
The soul of India is here. I like a lot the color, the people is very friendly, and I hope I come back again.
I came 6 years ago at this Mahakumbh, and I had a very important experience here. And so I've come back to this Mahakumbh Mela because this is a very special opportunity to connect with some energies that you won't get anywhere else. And so I've come here to pay my respects and ask for the blessing to continue my life path.
Among the pilgrims was Laureen Powell Jobs, wife of late Apple co-founder Steve Jobs. Here I must share this story. It was February 23, 1974, Steve Jobs' 19th birthday. He wrote a letter to his childhood friend, Tim Brown. In the letter, Jobs expressed his desire to attend the Kumbh Mela. He wrote, and I quote, "I wish to go to India for the Kumbh Mela, which starts in April. I will be leaving sometime in March, not really certain yet." He concluded with, "Shanti, Steve Jobs." Reports say this handwritten letter of Steve Jobs was auctioned at over $500,000 US. Now, after 50 years, Laureen Powell Jobs fulfilled her late husband's wish by visiting Mahakumbh in Prayagraj. Why is this Mahakumbh special? The 2025 Mahakumbh Mela holds extraordinary significance as it marks the completion of 12 Kumbh Mela cycles. What makes this event even more remarkable is the rare alignment of the Sun, Moon, and Jupiter, three of the most important celestial bodies in Vedic astrology. This alignment is believed to greatly amplify the spiritual power of the occasion, especially in 2025. According to seers, this unique alignment follows a rare planetary configuration that occurs only once every 144 years.
This Mahakumbh has occurred after 144 years. That is why it is so crowded here, and people from across the world are coming here.
Beyond its spiritual significance, the Mahakumbh Mela is also a vibrant marketplace. Young entrepreneurs flock to the event to showcase their talents, selling handicrafts, traditional items, and local delicacies from food stalls. This bustling platform not only helps them showcase their products, but also provides invaluable lessons on market dynamics and networking. As visitors brave the chilly weather, locals have set up bonfires and tea stalls, offering warmth and refreshment. But for those seeking a deeper, more spiritual experience, the Mahakumbh Mela has much to offer. Various camps and ashrams led by renowned spiritual gurus and teachers provide a tranquil oasis for spiritual growth.
That's why a lot of people are actually getting attracted towards spirituality. Not towards like getting moksha, but towards like, okay, how do I actually calm my mind and reduce my anxiety and all of that, which is fine also. But then you have to connect it to the root also.
Here, visitors can engage in meditation sessions, yoga classes, and discourses on spirituality, connecting with like-minded individuals and learning from spiritual masters.
Feel goosebumps. I can visualize myself being there. It was one of the most wonderful experiences of life, and these are moments which kind of stay with you forever.
Now taking you to Thailand from the North Indian city of Prayagraj. Anamika Sharma, a skydiver from India, created history by hoisting the Mahakumbh flag at 13,000 feet over Bangkok. So from the confluence of three rivers to thousands of feet above the sky, the magnificence of Mahakumbh unfolds a tapestry of spirituality, culture, and wonder, where faith meets fervor and humanity unites. That's all in this edition of Connecting the Dots. We'll see you next week with more raging issues. Until then, it's a goodbye from all of us in the Delhi newsroom. This is Munmun Bhattacharya signing off. Take care and stay safe.